One aspect of Kelly Severide's character during the hour makes the conclusion of Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 18, Postmortem, far less satisfying than it should be, despite the episode's intriguing structure. The character played by Taylor Kinney in Chicago Fire Season 13 has appeared in a lot more episodes recently than in the previous 2 seasons. In Season 13 he grew close to his new chief, Dom Pascal, overcame the sudden appearance of his long-lost half-brother, Jack Damon, and started the process of starting a family with his wife, Stella Kidd. In Chicago Fire Season 13, Severide has undoubtedly had a lot of stories. His arc hasn't been flawless, though, particularly in Episode 18, which makes perplexing decisions regarding his hour-long plotline. Severide's actions in Postmortem don't make sense in light of his character and all the events surrounding him in Chicago Fire Season 13. In Chicago Fire, Season 13, Episode 18, Eamon Walker's Chief Bowden returns as the new Deputy Commissioner of the Chicago Fire Department to look into an incident involving Firehouse 51. Early on, viewers are informed that one of Firehouse 51's employees is in the hospital, fighting for their life as a result of the accident. But the audience is left in suspense for most of the episode because their identity is kept a secret. The event took place during a terrible house fire, and Bowden shows up at the fire station after the fact to find out how things went so badly. Bowden questions Christopher Herman, Severide, Kidd, and Chief Pascal as the truth about what happened that night is gradually pieced together over the course of an hour through a series of flashbacks and retellings. The 4 of them are immediately removed from the mystery of which Chicago Fire character suffered serious injuries in the house fire, which lasts for the entire episode. Bowden hears how the call unfolded from each of the 4 firefighters. The unidentified character was in critical condition as a result of numerous unfortunate events that occurred that evening. In any case, when Chief Pascal saw that the house was going to collapse, he told his firefighters to leave. But someone was left behind. Sam Carver, who has just returned from furlough, is initially presented to the audience as the person in the hospital. It is revealed at the end of Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 18, however, that Damon was the firefighter inside the house when the roof collapsed. Fortunately, Bowden is found not guilty of any wrongdoing at Firehouse 51, and Damon survives surgery. The bad news is that Damon's injuries are so severe that his future as a firefighter is uncertain. Severide ruins the twist, even though it's heartbreaking to discover that Damon is the Chicago Fire Season 13 character whose life was in jeopardy. For the duration of Postmortem, the lieutenant is far too composed for someone whose brother could pass away. Severide has a reputation for being overly cautious and has made a lot of snap decisions over the last 13 seasons. Therefore, it is incomprehensible that he was not more upset in Episode 18. Even though it makes sense that Severide would need to be present to respond to Bowden's inquiries, it's odd that he wasn't waiting for updates on his brother's health at the hospital. Severide is aware that Damon might not make it. In Chicago Fire, Episode 18, he most definitely doesn't act that way, even though Severide and Damon clearly have a close relationship. As a result, the revelation that Damon is the one in critical condition has much less of an impact because it raises the question of why Severide wasn't constantly on edge. In Chicago Fire Season 13, Episode 18, Severide's actions are perplexing, but they also hint at a more serious issue. While the original One Chicago TV series skipped over the immediate aftermath of Severide discovering he had a half-brother, it did spend a fair amount of time establishing the relationship between Severide and Damon at the start of Season 13. However, following Damon's return to Firehouse 51, it appears that the series has no plans to further develop his and Severide's relationship, which is a mistake. Damon and Severide's relationship doesn't seem particularly deep or unique as of Episode 18. Severide's inaction about his brother's dire situation doesn't help either, even though we know that's not the case. Chicago Fire must work hard to complete the work that was initiated at the start of Season 13 in order to demonstrate Severide and Damon's strong bond.